Okay, this is N4LQ, Steve in Shelby, North Carolina, calling CQ. CQ, the 160-meter Old Friends Net. We meet here every night at 8 p.m. a.m. only, and we take check-ins from anybody and everyone is welcome. So if you'd like to check in, give me a call. This is N4LQ. Go ahead.
KN4R.
K4QD.
So I got Mir. Who's that before Mir?
K4QE.
Oh, okay. Sorry. K4QE, WF2U, and anybody else?
KN4R.
I got you.
Okay.
KN4R, K4QE, and WF2U. And who else is lurking out there that would love to check in tonight? Well, don't everybody jump in there at once. We'll go ahead and get started here. This N4LQ in Shelby, North Carolina, running the Elmac AF-68 tube type transmitter and driving a pair of 3-500s at about 278.5 watts. And lovely day today. Boy, it was just fantastic. Got out in the woods next door and put my new chain on my old saw and finished sawing up that pine tree, and everything is done now. So ready to go for another day. So KN4R, go ahead and take it away. N4LQ, and then over to Tony.
Yeah, okay, Steve, very good. And N4LQ and the group, good evening to all. Brian, KN4R, unfortunately on modern gear here. And 7610, ACOM 1000, and infant halfway. So anyway, very good, Steve. You had a productive day. Glad you got your pine tree all cut up. That's great. So I went to the VA today. I've been having some trouble with my feet, and so I got an appointment for podiatry, and anyway, I got real lucky. It ends up the doctor I had today is the president of the American Podiatry Association nationwide. So anyway, we had a really good talk, and they're making me some custom inserts for my feet. And I guess the biggest revelation was I've been having some trouble feeling my feet, and sometimes, and she verified all that. Said I really flunked the test that she gave me. She said she would you had to close your eyes and she'd poke and pinch your feet, and you were supposed to tell her where you felt it. Well, I sat there and told her, I said, I feel some on my left foot, some on my right foot, blah, blah, blah. Well, after the test, she looked at me kind of sadly and said, I never touched your right foot. So it was pretty good. So anyway, over to you, Tony. K4QE in the group, KN4R.
All right. Good evening, Steve. Good evening, Brian, and good evening, Mayor. Good to hear you all. And, wow, Brian, you did fail it. Well, I hope that it can get you straightened out. I had trouble with my feet as a very young child. I had to wear corrective shoes for the first 14 years of my life. But they're all good now, and everything's straight, and arched the way it's supposed to be, and it all worked out. So I hope it does for you as well. And I apologize for not being here last night. My son needed some assistance with a computer course that he's taking at college on networking. So I spent over an hour upstairs with him trying to help him through his this project he had to do. So, but got it all done, and he's happy, and we'll see how it goes. So anyway, run the usual here, 7851 into the Mercury Lux, about 250 watts of carrier into the inverted V. So there you go. Over to you, Mayor. WF2U K4QE.
Roger, K4QE. And the net, this is WF2U. Well, good evening, Steve, Brian, Tony. Signals are good. There is some QSB on you, Tony, and on you, Brian. Steve, you are holding steady. And running the GRC-19 again, as usual, consisting of the T195 transmitter and the R392 receiver into the 160-meter end fed. And Steve, you mentioned about the final tubes that you're feeding, the amplifier tubes that you're feeding the AF-68 into. Well, my finals are there's a pair of 4CX250s in the T195 and modulated by another pair of 4CX250s. And this unit by design is running only on 1,000 watts. 1,000 volts. And these tubes last practically forever and can take any SWR at that voltage. But that's why it's rated 100 watts output. Anyway, I was saddened and sort of that surprised to read about Lee. And, well, obviously that's why he didn't appear on Sunday on the net. And, well, it's hard. I feel for the family, and he's sorely missed. And in his honor, I think I'm going to cancel herding on Thursday and come to the luncheon, as long as it's a memorial for him. Anyway, with that, it goes back to you, Steve, N4LQ, WF2U.
Okay, WF2U, N4LQ. Let's see if anybody else wants to check in. Come now.
W4JPL.
Well, good morning, W4JPL. You sound bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. Go ahead and make a transmission and turn it back to me.
All right, well, good evening, everyone. I don't know who's in here. I heard Mir. Heard a good signal on Mir tonight. W4JPL. Not a lot going on here. Did some work around the house and got the caps in for the 390A, or not the 390, NC303. And I capped it all up, turned it on, and listened to Timmy and his crew running their mouse up on 3885 and almost took a hammer to the 303. Question for the night is, you guys keep telling me to try WD-40 to clean rotary contacts for band switch and whatnot. I was just wondering how you guys apply that. N4LQ, W4JPL.
Okie dokie. Anybody else want to check in? All right. Well, that's good. You got your capacitors all changed out, and apparently it works. And okay, I'm listening to Tim, and I get kick out of listening to him and some of his constituents up there. And this software I have, which is for the SDR, it's called SDR Console. It has built-in ability to play other people that are running this and have SDR receivers tied into it. Well, I could easily feed mine into the system, but I don't want to tie my receiver up. But there's one up there in the Northeast somewhere that I just click on when folks like that are too weak, and boy, they just boom right in. It's sort of like listening to the Kiwi type things, you know, the internet receivers, but these are all running SDR Console, but different kinds of receivers. That guy that I listen to is using an AirSpy receiver. WD-40, well, I don't, the first thing you do is take the cap off, and then you explain to the can what it is you want it to do. I mean, if you don't tell it that you want it to clean contacts, well, it's liable to do anything. So you say its name twice, WD, I want you to please work for me. Please clean my contacts. And you spray it all over the contact, and you let them drip dry. And if you want to dab it with a paper towel or something, and then of course as soon as you put it on there, spin your knob around, get it good and wiped, and that'll take care of it for years and years, and you'll be happy. So there you go. And also be sure to let it know that you do not like deoxit, and it'll do the job even better that way. Go ahead, Brian, KN4R. N4LQ.
Okay, very good, Steve. And N4LQ in the group, KN4R. All right, very good. Well, good evening to Mir, and also good evening to John. And John, very good on the NC303 and WD-40. Mir, Roger on Lee. I thought Steve's video that he put together so that we can see Lee and hear his voice in the future is a great thing. I'm going to check my calendar here after the next go around here and see how Thursday looks for me. So, but the GRC-19 sounds pretty good, Mir. So, and let's see what else is. Looks like I'm going to go to Hamcation this year. Brown's going to drive down, and so I'm going to hitch a ride with him. He's already got a hotel room and a flea market spot and a couple tickets. So. I'm going to make it big this year. I've been to Hamcation twice before, but only for a couple of hours each time. So this will be my biggest experience. So it'll be a lot of fun. I'll try to take lots of pictures. So back over to you, Tony, and very good on your son and helping him out with the networking. That's terrific. So K4QE in the group, KN4R.
Okay, Brian. Thank you. Oh, by the way, my son's name is Brian. Thank you very much. Yeah, I was sorry to hear about Lee, and I only talked to him a couple times on the Old Friends Net on Sunday afternoon. So I didn't really know him well at all, but I was certainly sorry to hear the news about him today. And also sorry to hear the news about Al, KJ4YEV's wife. Man, yeah, when he said it rains, it pours, he's not kidding. I hope things don't come in threes this time. Don't need any more. Thank you very much. All right. Yeah, so there's not much going on here. I got just winding down for the night. We just had a relatively late dinner, and I'm beat today. I'm really beat. I didn't go to bed until late last night, my own fault, and my butt's been dragging all day. So I hope I can last through the end of the night. But I'll pass it over to over to you, WF2U from K4QE.
Yeah, Roger, K4QE and the net. This is WF2U. Well, good evening, John. That you joined us. You have a pretty good signal. Again, QSP on you like on everybody else except for Steve. And, but good copy. Oh, yeah, and, what did I want to touch? Paste. Yeah. About the WD-40. Yeah, I use it also to clean contacts, and it really works. Practically for a lot of other things too. There is a lot of hacks that you can use the WD-40 for, and I've seen several videos that they're using it for different things. It's very interesting, but definitely it works as a contact cleaner. And what else? Oh yeah, last night I didn't come out to the shack to join the net. I was very busy. I started to cook late. There are certain things that I cook, not the XYL actually. I like my own cooking, the XYL to my taste. She cooks well, but it's very bland for my taste, so I usually cook for myself, and because I like spicy food. So I was doing some stuff, and I usually make a relatively large quantity so I can refrigerate it and divide it into a few meals. So I started to cook late because we had some outdoor work to do. It was a nice day. We cleaned up the dog agility training area. Moved equipment here and there, cleaned it, disassembled it. Oh yeah, WD-40. Yeah, I used it on some screws and bolts that keep stuff together. So we were busy practically the whole day, and we had company for lunch, and then my cooking was not finished by 8 o'clock, so I had to stay in the house. But so anyway, that's the story. And Brian, welcome home from Curacao, and I'm sure you had a great time. I saw your photos. I've never been there. The only place in the Caribbean. I was in Bermuda, and we had a great time in Bermuda. That was our honeymoon, and since then we've never went to the islands. Anyway, goes to John, and good job, as I said, on the NC303. Enjoy. W4JPL, WF2U.
All right, WF2U on a group W4JPL. I lost some of that mirror. You were real strong when you first came in there, and you sort of faded into the sunset a lot. Steve, I was looking for a little bit more something constructive about WD-40. I don't fancy just spritzing that inside the radio. I thought maybe applying it with a brush or something harder than a Q-tip in the afflicted area, so to speak. I just didn't know about spraying it in there. It does act as a lubricant, so that's why I was curious about it. I don't know that the stuff really dries out either. So over to you, Steve, W4JPL.
Okay, anybody else want to check in tonight? Give me a call, N4LQ.
WB4NKL.
WB4NKL. Well, good evening, Cliff. Hey, we're getting a good crowd here tonight. And before I forget, Brian, you were talking about, I went through the same thing with my right foot. I didn't have any feeling in it when they stuck it with needles. And then they did the nerve conductivity test, or NCT, or whatever they call it, where they apply a voltage between 2 points on your leg and shock it. I hated that, but they said, well, you got neuropathy. So is that what they got for you, neuropathy? Is that causing the numbness? Because that's typical of peripheral neuropathy, they call it. Anyway, I just wanted to say that before I forgot about it. Then I'll go ahead and turn it to Cliff, and then Cliff, just turn it back to me, and we'll go through the list again. WB4NKL, N4LQ.
Okay, Steve, it's WB4NKL. A little late getting out here tonight, but I did hear one round there. I think I heard everybody that's in here, and I think I heard that Brian's going to make it to Orlando, so we'll see you there in a couple weeks, I guess, or less, Brian. I think we're heading out a week from tomorrow, so be down there Friday and Saturday at the Hamfest is the plan. I just seen that about Lee on the internet. I was sort of figuring something was going on since he wasn't on the net there for a couple of days. So maybe he's in a better place. That's all I can say. Not much else here, Steve. I'll send it on around and get a little more into the conversation maybe the next go around. N4LQ, WB4NKL.
Okay, Cliff. Yep, got first-hand information. He's definitely in a better place because we talked about that before. Now let's see. Also, Brian, I wanted to ask you about something. It wasn't Orlando. I kind of wish I could go too, but I don't think I'm going to get that far away from the XYL here. But it does sound like fun. Don't forget KZ4B. We need to find out if he wants a ride. He hardly ever gets any email, or at least he doesn't seem to get email when I send it to him. So if he's around, he may want to find out if he can go, and we can all ride together and talk more about politics and religion and stuff, and maybe even some ham radio. All right, let's see. Spraying on WD-40. There's nothing really to worry about. It's going to get on stuff, but yeah, it sort of dries out, but it doesn't leave any residue. And I have taken a paper towel and put it around stuff I don't want sprayed, but I definitely wouldn't use a Q-tip. That's going to leave fuzzy stuff all over the place. And you're probably, you could dip a dabber or something into it. You can spray it in the lid or something and dab it around on something, but I don't think it gets in there very good when you do that. So I just soak it real good, and it'll do just fine. Anyhow, I sprayed it on ceramic switches in transmitters, 150 watts, and spin them around a few times and kind of dab it off a little bit, fire it up, and I never had any problem. I suppose it is flammable. If you sprayed a candle with it, it might just start a fire, but you kind of watch out for that. And it may be good for foot pain too, by the way, Brian. KN4R, N4LQ.
The N4LQ in the group, KN4R. Well, good evening, Cliff. And And Roger on Al's wife, I have not sent him a note yet, but I am going to do that in a bit. And Steve, I'll check with. I'm still checking my calendar to see what Thursday looks like. But if John, don't ever send John an email. I've sent him probably a dozen, and I've never gotten one response back. He says he's just got too much spam. But if you call him on his cell or text him, he'll usually answer. I'll send you his contact info in case you don't have his cell phone. But if I go, I'll check with him. So, and I'm not sure, Steve. She didn't really say. She said something like paresis or something like that. She didn't really spell it out or give me anything in writing. But I'll be talking to her again soon. So I'm not sure if it's peripheral neuropathy or not. So, but it certainly sounds like it's the same thing. But no shock test today. Oh, and let's throw one unassociated thing out. I don't know if everybody's been seeing all the information in the news about the fellow who spent $11 million looking to find Amelia Earhart and Fred Noonan, and he's been searching. He has his own searching company now, deep water searching, and they have a underwater drone that can, autonomous drone that can go down and do sonar and also take pictures. But in this case, the camera was broken when they shot some sonar data, and it looks like a swept wing fighter. So anyway, it's interesting to see all that. I've got some emails from who I think is the expert, the guy named Rick Gillespie at Tiger, which is an organization that's been also looking for Amelia for 35 years. If anybody wants to see them, I'll be glad to send them to you. So, and I've been enjoying my wife's homemade potato soup last couple of days, and I still got like a gallon left, so things are looking good. So, back to you, Tony. KO, and I hope your wife's doing well. K4QE in the group, KN4R.
All right, thank you, Brian. And Brian, there was one of the pictures in your the pictures from Curacao where there was a dish. It was just a plate full of food. I saw cantaloupe and plantain there, and a few other things. And oh man, that made my mouth water. Boy, that looked good. I hope it was as good as it looked. Really enjoyed the pictures, and obviously everyone had a great time, and that's wonderful. I've never been to Curacao. I have been to the Caribbean. I used to go to the Turks and Caicos every year for the CQ Worldwide DX Sideband contest. I went there for 7 or 8, I think it was 8 years, 8 consecutive years, from 2006 through 2014. And I went there with a group of other guys. They have been going since 1992, and we were the last year that we went was 2014, and we always had a great time. And eating the cuisine on the island was always a treat. And I kind of missed it. Haven't been back since. Don't know if I'll ever get back there again. But one of the guys who went with us, he was actually the leader of the group. His wife was from Curacao, so he had been there several times. He passed away a couple years ago now. No, I'm sorry, about a little over a year ago. He was 96 when he passed. His wife passed the year before that at age 95. And so yeah, she was a native of Curacao. So. Anyway, over to you, Mayor. WF2U from K4QE.
Yeah, N4QE. K4QE and the net. This is WF2U. Fine, Tony. You faded down to almost noise level towards the end, but I copied 100%. Anyway, have fun in Orlando. I never went to the Hamfest at all. I was on the west coast near, I forgot where it is, when the XYL had an aunt and uncle living there, and I had to take a course for the company I worked for at the time. I was there. St. Pete's, yeah. I went to one weekend out of the 2 weeks. There happened to be a Hamfest, and I went to the Hamfest. So that's the only Hamfest in Florida I did, and I didn't buy anything. Would have been a little hard anyway, because I had to fly, so no boat anchors were planned to be brought home. But it must be really fun, and the weather hopefully is going to be good, and it would be really like a mini vacation. So that's basically it. And Steve, I still didn't get to check out my AO-1200. I've been too busy to spend more time in here, except for the Mets. The last 2 weeks. Maybe this weekend, maybe another week. Supposedly, I think after they take the rainy Saturday or something. So maybe then I'm going to check what the source of the effective noise is in the AO-1200, because I haven't heard of them since with the first time. So with that, John, W4JPL, WF2U.
All right, WF2U in the group, W4JPL. Fine business. I got a good copy of me that time here. Well, I will give that WD-40 a try tomorrow and see how it works out for me. That's about the only thing I got to do to that receiver. Its cabinet's all painted and pretty, and it seems to be working very well. Just the band switch is crap. So I'll take care of that. Let's see. I guess it goes to Cliff now. So over to you, Cliff, W4JPL.
W4JPL, it's WB4NKL. I don't think WD-40 will bother anything, John. We used to get, years ago, I worked on Motorola HT220s, and every once in a while one would get wet, and they'd bring them in, and that was the treatment I did to those. I sprayed about a can of WD-40 in there, and then took an air hose and blew it all out of the coils and everything. And they come, most of the time they'd come back to life, and unless there was so much corrosion that the plating had eaten to. And you know, none of that WD-40 residue bothered the Motorola. Those parts was packed in there and had some close traces, so if there'd been any residue, it would have affected it, but didn't have any side effects on those portable radios. I remember back in the TV days, there was a cleaner called Blue Stuff. Now that stuff would build up, and it was like a grease when is what it left in. It was a tuner cleaner, I guess is what it was supposed to be, but it made a mess. It didn't evaporate. It was like spraying grease into the circuit. So I wouldn't recommend that on anything else. And there's some of those cleaners that'll, you know, the phenolic will soak it up, which is not good. But I don't think the WD-40 will give you any trouble. Let's see. Yeah, I seen a little bit about a picture of that Earhart, Brian, shadowy image of a plane. So they might be on to something there. Be interesting to see what your friend, your expert, says about it. I guess they'll be going back and checking everything out closer. I was able to get my walk in today. It never did get real warm, up in about mid-40s here and overcast, but and the wind blowed, but it was no rain, so I got to walk in today. Go ahead, Steve. N4LQ, WB4NKL.
Okay, so N4LQ. Do we have anybody that would like to check in? This is N4LQ. Call now. Hello, Lyle, N4QH. Good evening. Good to hear you. Haven't heard you for a while. Little bit weak, but we'll try to pull you in here. Go ahead and make a transmission, then turn it back to me. Okay, I heard you turn it back to me, so I assume that you're done. Did you copy him any better than I do, Cliff? Over.
No, I couldn't. I could tell there was a signal there, Steve, but I couldn't bring any audio out.
Yeah, I can kind of tell. I can tell Lyle's voice, but it's really hard to get words out. But anyway, and I got you on the list here, Lyle, and we'll turn it back to you. Cliff can give it to you, and we can listen to see if there's anything audible coming out of that area. But let's see. Here's the list I've got so far. Myself, and then KN4R, K4QE, WF2U, W4JPL, WB4NKL, and N4QH. So let's see. First of all, Mir, you you keep fading out. You get pretty weak there. I'm not sure what's going on. And I did hear you say you had not worked on the AL1200, but we're all anxious to hear that again. That really makes a difference, of course. And that's Cliff. That's the best WD-40 testimony I think I've ever heard. A waterlogged Motorola transceiver, and you just used an entire can of WD-40 and just soaked her down and blew it dry with an air gun. That is just beautiful. And I've kind of done the same thing. I had a can of some of that compressed air that they use on computers and stuff around here, and that kind of helps blow it off a little bit if you get a mess. So you might pick up a can of that at the hang on a second. I got to change fingers here. I'm squeezing this silly mic here, and my left thumb gets tired, and I have to switch over to the right hand to use my trigger finger to pull it in. Even though I've worked on it, I still haven't got it right. So let me hang on just a second. I'm going to plug in this other mic here. Okay, this is the old chicken choker D104. We'll use it. I don't know. I've been thinking about sending that thing back. That's a killer. Let's see. And blue stuff, I remember that. And we used to use something in the electronics department called Blue Shower, and I used it at home too. Back in the old days before I knew about WD-40. Blue Shower was in a big can, a real large blue can, and I used it on just about everything. It wasn't too bad. It didn't gum anything up, at least. But I'll tell you this: a lot of switch contacts are made out of bronze that are oil impregnated, and if you use regular old switch cleaner or or tuner cleaner, that stuff that evaporates real fast, it will dry out the oil, and then before you know it, the switch will wear out. And there is one of the Tentec manuals, I'm thinking it's for like the Triton, the early Triton series. It even mentions do not use contact cleaner on the switches because they are oil impregnated and it'll dry the oil out. So a WD-40 will not do that. And yeah, Brian, I was going to mention that Amelia Earhart thing because it showed up on my recommended videos a while ago from YouTube, and there he was. Let's see, what is this guy here? Yeah, Tony Romero, CEO of Deep Sea Vision, and he's the guy that's spent, was it $11 million of his own money to go look for her plane. So Sweepwing doesn't sound much like what she was flying, but I guess whatever it was, they'll dig it up and bring it up or something. They should be able to bring up something that small, I would think. So over to you, Brian. KN4R, N4LQ.
Okay, N4LQ in the group, KN4R. Okay, very good. And good evening to Lyle. And Lyle, I was copying you okay here, but you might have to just speak up a little bit. So, anyway, very good on all. Tony, that was a plate of goat meat with bones, as they advertise it, and it had a lot of bones in it. I couldn't tell why it would have so many bones, but it had lots. And the other thing on the menu that I did not get was the iguana with bones. And by the way, they hunt iguanas down there with slingshots, and I didn't see them hunting any, but I sure did see a lot of iguanas around. So, but the food was really good, not too expensive. Stay wasn't too bad, so it's pretty inexpensive, relatively speaking, to go visit. And but it's a nice place. And knowing Dutch would be a real plus, but they know a lot more English than we do Dutch. So, and very good on Blue Stuff and Blue Shower. I'm sure I have cans of it here if anybody needs it. I don't use it anymore, but I do need to find some more freeze spray. That would probably come in handy here. So let's see. Let's keep it going. Tony, and very good on your Turk and Caicos for 8 years for the worldwide single sideband DX contest. That sounds wonderful, Tony. I know that was a lot of great memories. So K4QE in the group, KN4R.
All right, Brian, very good. I couldn't copy Kyle, but Kyle, if you can hear me, good evening to you. Or Lyle, I'm sorry. Good evening to you. And Cliff, I failed to say hello to you when you came aboard, but so good evening to you as well. Brian, on a quick break, what did you say the name of the dish was? I had a static crash when you said it.
Oh, it was goat. There was goats all over the island, so that was goat meat with bones, Tony.
Roger. Goat meat. Okay. Well, we didn't have anything that exotic when I went to Turks and Caicos, but in fact, the one native dish to Turks and Caicos that I had while I was there was actually cooked by our host. Jody, the VP5JM was our host. VP5 Juliet Mike. Those are her initials, and one of her specialties was cooking conch. And she used to make conch stew for us when we went down there, and boy, was it good. I also had conch at one of the local restaurants that is on the beach, and it was very enjoyable. It was really a good time. Also sampled a lot of the other local seafood that while we were there, and of course you can't get much fresher than that. So. It was quite a treat to go down there. What else was I going to say? That WD-40, yeah. As I recall, WD-40 was sold as a drying agent. So But obviously we've learned that it also has lubricant capabilities. But yeah, that's interesting. I got to tell you, I was a little skeptical when I heard you guys describing it, but obviously you guys have the experience with it, and I'm interested in seeing how it works out with John's receiver. So anyway, what am I doing here? Okay, so over to you, Mayor. WF2U in the group from K4QE.
Okay, K4QE, this is WF2U. Let's see, Tony, you're fading out a little bit. So you're saying I went down to almost noise level. Everybody has something to do. So Steve, it's no big number. I'm watching the meter on the T195, and there is no change. So the power is the same, it's conditions. Because you're fading also, not full, but everybody else has a much more effect on fluence. And everybody, but even Brian sometimes we're going down to the noise level almost. And I couldn't copy Lyle at all. He was just at the noise level in the beginning, so I heard part of the call time, and that was it. And Kid, you had pretty strong QSP on you, but again, I'm not losing you in the noise, but it's a real big difference. So I guess it's too big. That's all I have. I really have nothing new here. Like I said, I didn't do anything with radios. Oh, Steve, I didn't touch the AL-1200 at all. Since I heard that cracking noise, I didn't really have time to spend on it. The time that I have is basically operating on the mess. I come out here for an hour, and I come out on the old 80-meter old transmitter, and that's about it. I didn't do basically anything. So I don't know yet what's going on with the AL-1200. Maybe this coming weekend I'll have time and spend a couple of hours and find out what's going on with it. Hopefully it's nothing much, and I'll be able to get it back on the air soon. But I haven't done anything yet. So W4JPL, this is WF2U.
All right, WF2U and the group W4JPL. I'm just reading about what you can use WD-40 on and what you shouldn't use it on. It says don't use it on plastic. This plastic's oil-based and it breaks it down. So, fortunately, the wafers are not plastic, so it should be okay there. Yeah, I just like to research stuff before I stick my head in the noose. One thing it did say, though, is that WD-40 is not good for arthritis. I had no intention of spraying it on my body, so there you go. Fellas, I'm going to get out of here. It's getting close to pumpkin time for me. It's been a long day, and I are some kind of tired, and Maggie's been giving me the evil eye, so I guess she wants to tell me something. So I guess I ought to pay attention to her before I go sleepy by. 73, God bless, and carry on. I'll be listening for a minute or three. Over to you, Cliff, WB4NKL in the group, W4JPL.
Yeah, W4JPL, it's WB4NKL, 73s, John. And we'll probably catch you in the morning, maybe. I guess the biggest reason I had tried the WD-40, I was reading on the can, it said it displaces moisture, and that was what I was trying to do in those portable radios, because that was inside the IF cans and old miniature cans, and if it'd been in water very long, so that was the goal, was to displace the moisture. and it seemed to work, and unless they, left it on with the battery in it, and of course that'd eat some of the plating off, and then you had to start looking for open traces and try to bridge around that. I saved most of the HT 220s. I don't know. I didn't lose many. They cost about $1,000 back in the day, and so they wasn't real keen on scrapping them. So I did all I could to save them. Every once in a while, one come up and couldn't be repaired, but what didn't happen too often. Did have a fellow bring one in one time. They'd got caught under the flange of a wheel. He dropped it out of his pocket, and it somehow landed on top of the rail, he said, and the wheel run over it. Had all the parts squished out to the side, so that one was sort of totaled out. Couldn't restore that one. I'll see if I can hear you this time, Lyle. If you copy me, go ahead. N4QH WB4 NKL.
Yes, WB4 NKL. N4QH real good. Just going down to all things up to the trees, you guys aren't hearing me too well, and we're waiting for a 55 there tonight. Basement. Over to you, Steve, and 4LQ, 4QH.
Okay, well, I copied most of that, just barely, but I did copy it. Be sure to try to join us, let's see, tomorrow morning on the Old Friends Net, if you can make it, 9 o'clock. Or 8 o'clock, what is it, 9 o'clock? 9 o'clock, 37:15, and then Thursday, of course. And we're gonna go ahead and keep it going on Thursday, and we're just gonna rotate things around. So we'll still be doing it. And let's see, comment on plastic. WD-40, I never heard of it or experienced it hurting plastic, especially plastic, as you mentioned, is an oil-based product, so it would seem to be the thing that you should use, really, that wouldn't react with it. But what do I know? I sprayed it on plastic radios and all kinds of plastic things. Never saw any kind of side effects. That probably, some of those articles are put out by as fake news, and they're leaked out by the Deoxit company, who does that, trying to sabotage WD-40. There's a battle going on. If you ever get a chance, look at the video that I did on WD-40 versus Deoxit versus contact cleaner that I got at Lowe's, and I took a big chunk of copper-plated circuit board, and it was exposed and very oxidized, and then I sprayed 3 stripes, WD and the other 2 items, and let it sit out there in the sun. Then I wiped it off and showed the difference, and the WD-40 did the best job. Deoxit left a kind of a greasy, oily film, and Sooner Cleaner basically didn't do much of anything, or a switch contact cleaner at Lowe's, it didn't do much of anything. And then, of course, I have gotten more negative comments. I mean, it set off a firestorm of complaints, and the Deoxit crowd is like a cult, and you can't say anything bad about it. And I guess it's just gotten that way, and so anyway, I had to deal with that. But that video has gotten more views than just about any of the rest of them that I've made. Okay, I think it's about all for the night. I'm about done here, unless anybody has anything else pressing to get into. We've gone for almost an hour, and we'll just do a 73 round now and close her down. KN4R, N4LQ. Go ahead.
Okay, Steve. Very good. N4LQ in the group. KN4R. So very good on oh shoot. You didn't tell the story about trying to sell that old car with a bad paint job, Steve, and spraying WD-40 on it and rubbing it in, and made the car look pretty good, and you sold it. So don't know how it was after the first rain, but anyway, I'm a WD-40 person too, and you know, there's so many different kinds of plastic. You know, chances are it's probably not going to hurt things, but I would just wipe off the excess. So anyway, I've enjoyed it. 73s to everybody. Have a wonderful evening, and I hope to see everybody on the net tomorrow. K4QE in the group, KN4R.
Okay, very good, Brian. Thank you, and I hope everybody has a great day tomorrow, and hope you enjoy the Old Friends Net tomorrow morning and the get-together on Thursday. I'm sorry I won't be there. I'd love to be, but my employer has me otherwise occupied. So anyway, have a great night, everyone, and we'll talk to you tomorrow night, hopefully. WF2U and the gang from K4QE. Good night.
K4QE, this is WF2U. 73, Tony and everybody else. I'll say 73 to all. And a good night, Steve. Thanks for running the show. And also, yeah, that memorial video about Lee was really very nicely done. And thanks for editing that video. It's really very, very touching. So 73 all was good to hear, everybody, and take care. Tomorrow I'll try to be on the net tomorrow morning, the Old Friends net. So John, W4JPL 73 to you. So this is WFU.
I believe John done signed out, so take it, say 73s, and try to make the Old Friends there tomorrow. I guess it's be like somebody missing there, though. He was always there, seemed like. So 73s, and we'll catch everybody tomorrow. Back to you, Steve. I heard copied Lyle most of the last transmission and heard him sign out, so I'll turn it back to you. N4LQ, it's WB4NKL, 73s.
All right, Cliff. Yeah, you got the big signal tonight. Nice and wide, doesn't sound tinny like most of the RAS boxes do. I really enjoy listening. Is that the Globe King?
Yeah, Globe King 500. I'm running the DDS VFO, so I'm cheating a little bit.
Okay, yeah, got that big boy sound. I like that. And by the way, did you ever use WD-40 on the train wheels?
wasn't my department, but they probably used a lot of it down. They had a diesel shop, they called it, where they done locomotive repairs. I'd say they bought WD-40 by the cases.
Yeah, I've seen it in gallon cans, and I think you can buy drums of it too. All right. Well, we'll see you in the morning, maybe at if I get up early enough, or at 9 o'clock on the net. 73s, WB4NKL, and the group N4LQ closing down the Old Friends Net. Good night.
Good night, Steve. Thanks for calling. N4.
Night.